I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time, April 13th, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, we'll just move stuff around a little bit, just because people are still rolling in, so we'll wait and see if Mike shows up. Second guest is Tony Roderick, in regards to the extension on the water main on Hart Street. How you doing, Tony?
Good.
Alright, so I see that you have your plan here as far as you have your three lots, lot 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, according to your new regulations, if I put a well and extend the main whenever you lift water moratorium, I got a year to do that and tie it into the house. So I got the well in. What do you want me to do next?
So, you've changed... Alright, so you've changed it from the beginning. Lot 1, you have enough of frontage where you can put a well in, correct?
That house is in. Lot 1's in.
You put the well in that one too. Did you put the well in?
Oh, that's the one that's... Alright,
That's Swartz.
okay, watches, okay. Now lot 2,
I bought the piece of land next door to it so I could get frontage
that's right, on lot 2,
on Lot 2.
so you didn't have to have a water service and you put a well in on lot 2.
Yeah.
But now lot 3 is short. You don't have the frontage.
I could, but it would be a real pork chop lot. You know what I'm saying? If I went 250 feet, I'd barely have enough to get into my existing barn.
But lot 3 as of right now is short,
Sure.
so you do have to put the main in and tie into us because you don't have the frontage on lot 3.
Right.
So right now you're just worrying about lot 2,
3.
so you all worrying about 3.
So you're wanting to tie in lot 3
Lot 3.
to the
Existing.
existing main.
Right,
It's
but
only about 100 feet.
right, but you're gonna have to extend it a little bit. You guys can come in.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, we're just, that's fine. We just started, we're trying to just keep the ball rolling so we weren't here too late. Well, because, if you don't have the frontage, Tony, you have to tie into us.
Yeah. I know that.
Okay,
I'm willing to do that. That's no
Okay.
problem. Just when you lift the moratorium, I'm gonna have to do it. That's where your regulation, the new regulation you had. I'm reading it, right? So you have to put a well in, so I can get a Form A lot.
that's right.
Right.
And then when you lift the moratorium, I have 1 year to extend the main and tie it into the house.
Well, the thing is that after... Yeah, but hold on a second here, and I understand what you're saying. But right now, you own this lot.
Yeah.
You put a well in,
Yeah,
you build a house,
yeah.
you put a septic system in, and you sell the lot. But you didn't put the main in.
I'm willing to put the
Because
main-
we didn't, alright, so we didn't,
I'm willing to put the main in today.
okay, so what's the problem?
You wouldn't let me last few meetings ago, you said I couldn't extend it while the moratorium was on.
You can extend the main, we don't have a problem with you extending the main. Because we're talking about lot 3, we're just talking about lot 3. 1, 2 are totally dead issues.
Right.
Okay, so now we're just on lot 3.
Yeah.
But you don't have the frontage. If you had the frontage on lot 3,
Yeah.
and you put a well in, you wouldn't have to tie into us because you have the frontage. But since you don't,
I don't.
then you need to tie into us. We're both on the understanding of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to get up to speed.
Yeah, me too.
Alright. So you don't have the frontage, you have to tie into us. But the thing is, if you sell lot 3 and you don't put It could be 5 years from now when we lift the moratorium. You have to put the main in before you sell this or build a house. You have to put the main in. You have to put the infrastructure in.
I think you wanna do that, right?
I've been wanting to do it.
Okay.
I've been wanting to do it.
All right, so the next thing is we need to
I
talk to
never
Wood.
would've, I never would've bought the land next to me if you would've let me extend the main. But at that time, you told me that I had to, wait until the moratorium was lifted. And I told you at one of the meetings,
But
I
we
believe.
changed, but when you first came to us, we changed the moratorium last year.
Yeah,
From the original moratorium, we modified it last year. So now under the new modifications, you can put the new main in.
oh, okay.
The old moratorium that we started with Jeff, when we had the massive, you're right, we didn't let you do it, nobody was building, we stopped it. We stopped 100%. But last year, we had a meeting with the town, and then we changed the moratorium, so you can put the main in. Woodard and Curran is here now, obviously, you can have it all drawn up. We have to have Woodard and Curran go through everything, make sure it's all set, and then we can go forward. So you are right, you can put the main in.
Okay.
Or else, with the new moratorium, you're right.
You can put the main in, but he is.
I can't connect to it.
Correct.
You still have to pay the $10,000, all the fees and everything have to be paid.
Yep.
So that way, when you sell this house, and if we, 5 or 6 years down the road, if we lift the moratorium, and we say, now the clock starts on the 12 months, we already have our money, the homeowner has to do it within 12 months. Because you're long gone.
Is that what the $10,000 is held for?
Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
But if the house is tied in, I get the 10,000 back?
If you,
It's not gonna be tied in.
When it does.
Hmm?
When it does, do I get the 10,000 back?
No, because that's what's gonna pay for for us to do the work.
unless he tied, what if he, I think what you're getting at is, what if you tied in yourself?
You still have to
Pay for
pay
it, but then you
for
get
the
the 10
tapping
grand back.
fee, you have,
I can do all that myself.
all right, why don't we worry about that down the road?
All right.
Why don't we, I could be wrong on that, so I gotta read this paragraph, so you could be right. But as of right now, you do have to put the main in
All right.
before anything is sold. And then we'll find out about the 10,000.
Can I tap the main and cap it?
I don't know what we've been doing. Yeah, I would imagine.
That's how
No,
you do
why
it.
wouldn't
Well, I think, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, and I will find the 100%, I think we're actually putting meter pits on these lots where the meter is out.
Really?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. So it might
Let's
be already
confirm
tied
it.
into the
Yeah, let's
main,
confirm that, yeah.
which Greg will know. I think we're doing, it's part of the whole,
I know you discussed that.
yeah.
There's one lot that will need a pit, the retreat lot.
Oh, the retreat, I can see that,
That one will definitely be
but that's down the road. That's not right now.
I'll find out that answer, honestly. But you can put the main in up for lot 3. And then we'll figure out the rest of it.
So can I go get a Form A from the planning board?
What does the Form A do from the planning board?
It's a sale of a lot. Got the lot sold.
That I don't know.
Couldn't tell you, I don't know.
They said they had to have it okay from you people. That's why I'm here tonight.
Okay. So we get the formal, do we get something from, do we have to put a formal letter from Matt together to give to Tony? Or to give to the planning board, whomever we give it to, just get a formal response. That way he can do what he can get what he needs from the planning board.
That's
Okay.
for the other lot that you haven't started yet?
Normally the way they do it, you put the main in, you tap the main and you put a shut off
Correct.
at the street or on town property. So they can shut, you guys can shut it off anytime you want. But as far as putting a meter pit, I've never heard of that in Dighton, unless there's some new regulation you guys have. I could see if if the water line ran over maybe 100 feet or something.
The thing is, Tony, if I'm not here and you're gone, and then, you know,
Or vice versa.
well, no, I'm just saying, the homeowner can't be responsible. We need to have the money. You have to run the house off the well from the time it's built for who knows how long.
Yeah.
But that homeowner can't be responsible for tying into us you can't tie into us.
Yeah, that's what the 10,000 is for, I think.
Yeah, that's what that's for.
Right, but you're gonna go back after the house is sold and you're gonna do all the work?
Yeah, I'm building a house.
5 years down the road, you're gonna go back?
Of course I would.
Yeah, but we're holding
But we-
some of that money for
Yeah, but we can, that answer is that part is irrelevant this evening. The thing that he came in for is to extend that main, which we can do. We can work out and make sure we
Yeah,
confirm
that's right.
everything else. And get the opinion letter from Matt to give to Tony or the planning board, so he can get his Form A.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then we'll hash out the details per the moratorium, exact language and what that's for, and what he gets back or what he
Fees
doesn't get back,
associated with
things like that.
connecting will be paid at the time of approval for the installation of the water mains.
And said
Shall be
fee shall be applied.
Property connects to the water system.
And said fee shall be applied.
So I think it's fees plus the 10.
That's right, it
And then the
is.
10 goes back.
Alright, that's fine, Tony. If that's what that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. We'll get whatever you need for the planning board and we'll move forward with
I
it.
just need a letter saying that you're accepting the
We can get that for you.
regulation, the regulation you got, and I'm gonna adhere to it.
Right, and then as far as putting the water main in,
I'll put the water in.
well, but we
Oh.
have to have,
I'll get a set of plans drawn,
right,
and then I'll submit it to you people.
yep, we'll have Woodard and Curran go over them. Everything is good and then we'll go from there. Cool.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Do that.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Have a good weekend. Yeah, you too.
Alright. Thanks. I don't know how you worked that out so fast.
She did.
Alright, Mike still didn't show up, so we'll go on to Isaac from Woodard and Curran, Scott from Woodard and Curran, and I have Phil here from Z Norton, which is doing the Main Street project. Okay, we have a set of plans.
I brought them up on my computer, but
There's some right here.
there are minor revisions associated with hydrant changes and that. I have them up on my computer.
Hey, Greg. How you doing? Living the dream.
Is that the most recent one? or-
Yeah. Well, it's
Leave that one, I'll tell you another one.
Alright, so I'd just like to start that in this room, there's gonna be angry people and there's gonna be happy people, and there's no hard feelings on any of this. And I'm not 100% right or wrong, and neither is anybody here, but tonight we have to go over some stuff, and this is gonna be the final talk about this, because I'm not putting blame on anybody at this table, prior, employees, anybody here, but we honestly, this is the last time that we talk about this, because honestly, this is going on way too long. So, Zach, if you could help me find.
Yep. Do you want me to come on that side?
Yeah, anyway, I need to find a culvert.
Down by Lenny's house.
Okay. Alright, so, no, you're fine. Just so we can get everybody up to speed from what I'm understanding. Culverts, we have 3 culverts crossing Main Street. Water culverts. Culvert 1, Culvert 2, and Culvert 3. They are all between William Street and Elm Street. Let's stay on Culvert 3 for like 20 minutes.
Just for reference, that's the one down by the pond, correct?
Correct, that's what
That
feeds.
ties into the pond.
This is what feeds the ponds over here
Gotcha.
before Elm Street.
Gotcha.
When the drawings were made, when this was all set in stone, there was 61 feet. Is it linear feet or feet? I don't know.
Linear feet.
All right. There was 61 feet of pipe that stayed, that we weren't going to change because it went over the culvert 15 years ago. It was put in 15 years. When Z Norton did their work and they went to pressure test it 2 weeks ago, it failed.
The pipe above.
The pipe above the culvert.
Okay.
Yeah, the entire section, including the connection point to from
The
what
new
Z Norton
pipe,
installed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I don't know what, so if it's 61 feet plus whatever Z Norton did,
Yeah.
10 feet on either side of the 61 feet, there was a little bit of whatever it was. But it failed, it kept going to 100 PSI down to 85. They could never get it to 100 to pass.
120 we're trying to get rid of. We're trying to get,
We were just,
attempting to get-
we were gonna go to 100, see if it helped, because we knew we were testing existing pipe.
Yeah.
We were gonna sort of incrementally do it and get it, done in association with, AWWA standards.
Unbeknownst to anybody at this table, at this room, 15 years ago, when they tried pressure testing this piece that nobody knew about it, it failed. And it blew apart, and they repaired it, and it's held. Has it been leaking for 15 years? I can't tell you that, and nobody here can. But as of right now, it's failed.
Okay.
We can't go underneath the culvert, it has to stay on top.
And we did evaluate that, Derek, so I think it's worth, for
Okay,
consideration, for
Okay.
the topic of the entire conversation, so we're talking about 3 culverts. We made an intentional decision during the design process, we had a lengthy conversation about the complexity of going under this particular culvert.
a million, right.
it
If I
was-
leave anything
it
out,
was
I'm not,
really
I'm not
long and
blaming anybody.
expensive, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
although
It could have
we-
been $1 million to $3 million just to do
Just
61
to do
feet.
this particular
That's right.
culvert crossing.
So,
So it was as much as the whole project almost to cross this culvert from a permitting and cost perspective. So
and nobody knew here that it
we didn't know what
failed.
to fail.
Right.
Right.
And nobody wanted it to fail, but we're talking about 61 feet
Yep.
that we can't go underneath. The problem we're having right now is insulating the pipe. There's pre-made insulation, there's field wrap insulation, there's time frame, there's lead time.
Well, so what you're getting at is, when you get into the insulation part, are you saying replace, we're gonna replace that 61 feet of pipe?
Right, we're gonna put brand new pipe
Okay,
in this section,
okay,
but there's 2 different ways of insulating it.
okay.
There's a better way
In a good way?
and there's a good way.
Yep.
The good way has more labor involved with pre-buying it already built. There's pros and cons to every way. It's the engineering, which I'm just saying, wants us to go with the pre-made.
What's the lead time on that kind of pipe?
So, yeah, I can sort of speak to both, and Phil jump in if you want on with it. So, pre-insulated pipe comes in from a factory, or you ship pipe to a factory, they pre-insulate it, comes up to the joint, and then there's a little spigot portion of it left, and it goes in, drives in like any other main. You don't have to do any wrapping of the pipe as it goes in, it's already like it, you go, except for,
You don't have to
megalog joints.
you don't have to hand wrap the connecting point or anything like that?
No, it's already set up so you can come in. The only place where you might have some issues is at like megalugs or 45 bends, because they can't do that. Like you can't ship a vertical 45 bend in from a factory.
Right.
Then there's field applied insulation, which is not factory applied. You do it in the field, but based on manufacturer specification, wrap it, and then move forward out in the field. So there's
Insulation material's the same in the prefabbed versus the field install?
the general material is the same. It's just you're doing it in a controlled facility as opposed to a construction site and working in a trench and all the potential issues associated with that. It's just, it limits the amount of, like, if you could have any potential issue with insulation in a factory, and I think everybody can agree with that. Now, generally, there are longer lead times associated with field applied insulation, pre-insulated pipe as opposed to field applied insulation. Last time I checked with Phil, he was grabbing a quote or a schedule on how long it would take for pre-insulated pipe. My understanding with the manufacturer is that it was about 2 to 4 weeks for field applied insulation that they can supply, and 6 to 8 weeks for pre-insulated pipe. So.
And this is all above and beyond the contract, correct?
Correct.
That's 61 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So, the field insulation, so the pipe that's there now, even though that the pipe failed probably from whatever, the insulation that's there on the pipe now is field applied. And my thing is, and as far as, and I'm not perfect, this stream that feeds the pond is the only, let me back up 1 second, I don't mean to jump around. they keep saying by the manufacturer that this insulation can't get wet either. So that's why it's
Yeah.
better to go with the pre-insulated pipe because it's less of a chance of the insulation getting wet. But we live in New England and I just can't see on the face of this earth how insulation still doesn't get wet because I work for National Grid and they have the best of everything. We still have cable blow up because it gets wet. But anyway, that's just another thing.
That pre-applied, the prefab pipe, does it have like a plastic sheathing on the outside of it? Like you would see in a plumbing system in a building?
I think it's HDPE, right? Phil, is what it typically coming out
On
of
the
the pre-insulated.
pipe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, it's HDPE, and then on the, like Zach said, it pushes together, and then on the bell joint, you just, where it pushes together, they give you some
Some tape.
sealant, and you just seal it.
So those two
together.
pieces of insulation will touch each other and wrap it,
Okay.
so you've got essentially a watertight,
Right.
in theory.
But and also, I believe that we're proposing to flow fill the pipe, which is gonna help to,
Right, that was the next thing, right.
yeah.
So the pipe that's there now is insulated by the field. It's not flow filled, so we're gonna flow fill it. My thing is that, and just as this is my opinion, you guys have to, this is the only stream that feeds this pond. It runs 99% of the year, and when it doesn't, it's July when it doesn't. That water never gets freezing because that is the main run for the pond. So that water never gets under 32 degrees. The culvert never gets under 32 degrees. The ground, the sand, the insulation, the wet. Is it necessary to go with the factory insulation on the pipe compared to the field? That's something that,
I might offer that the biggest issue is not the water temperature or the fact that the water's flowing and not freezing, it's the airflow through the culvert. So you ever drive down the highway and see
Bridges freeze
before
quicker
roads.
because of the.
It's the airflow underneath
but is
that
that,
keeps.
does that culvert have air underneath or is it full all the time?
It varies with the level of the water. There could be this much here, there could be this much here.
Yeah, the
But in the
airflow.
winter time when it's flowing?
Depends on
Most
if
of
they open the dam.
Well,
Most of the
I
winter
don't,
probably is lower flow conditions during the winter time, which
So-
means you have more
so
airflow.
I don't know what to
When
say.
it's
So what's the-
-5.
Yeah, so what's so I guess my question would be, what's the concern, or what's the end game, or who's pushing for what as far as field applied versus factory prefabbed? As far as, is it a cost thing, is it a engineering thing, is it a?
So
We don't like
leak
the
type
over
thing?
the culvert to begin with, but it's there
Right.
and we all chose to leave it there.
Correct.
Right.
So we want the best product possible.
What, in 15 years, have you had any problems with it freezing?
No. Tina has a folder on the desk.
That's
I've
why I
been
brought
to every
Brady.
culvert in this town today,
Uh-huh.
and I've taken pictures of every culvert in this town.
Mhm.
I have culverts that go over the top that were put in 1969.
Mhm.
Bare. The insulation blew off 30 years ago. Still it don't freeze. You have Wheeler Street, you have the brand-new construction on Brook Street that the Somerset Water Department did. You have 138, you have Muddy Cove, you have Elm Street. You have every picture of every culvert that we presently own in the district. None have ever had a problem, with the exception of 2 under the river crossings that have both leaked. One being on 44, one being the Sargansett River on Elm Street. 44, we couldn't find the leak, we had to hire a person to come in because obviously the leak just went into the river and we never saw it.
But we're more concerned with the leak, with the freezing aspect of it, correct, and not the.
Well, what's it
or
gonna do when
both.
it freezes? It leaks.
Yeah, fair point.
So I won't, and obviously you can pass around whatever you want, so I didn't write on the bottom yet, okay? Elm Street, by the dam.
Mhm.
Somerset's new main on Brook Street, the gas main, and their 12-inch.
Is that field applied or factory?
Field applied.
It's field applied.
Everything here is field
Okay.
applied. This
That's
is
old school.
this is stovepipe and pink insulation like you buy in your house.
That's old school.
Put in 1955.
Yeah.
Never froze yet. You're on a main run. You have water going through this pipe consistently. Even if the outside did freeze, you're never going to freeze a 12-inch line solid unless you're at a dead end. Oh, that's here. All right. Muddy Cove.
Yep.
2014. The pipe is right under this dirt. Field applied insulation. Walsh put it in out of Attleboro. That's going to be done away with next year. The state's doing away with the bridge, so you've got issues.
Yeah.
This one, those are bare joints on Walker Street.
Mhm.
That is the pipe, right there. It
Right.
comes out of the ground, goes across with barbed wire and back there. There is no
I was gonna say, in
insulation.
theory, that should be insulated, right?
You think? And that is our culvert on Tremont, when the highway department redid the culvert in 16, we applied, we ran the pipe up, across and down, and we put the field applied insulation on there.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
we're gonna, Flo will fill both of them no matter what. It's just that.
Yeah,
I don't,
So I'm not against field applied insulation. I just, so we got with, what's the name of, that supplier for the insulation over there, Phil? What's, Insulation Pipe Products or something like that?
Sean Quilty?
Sean Quilty, yeah. So we checked with him, because C. Naughton provided a cut sheet like a couple days before. Then we went through and their underground system has an HDPE jacket with like a 2-inch thick insulation, polyurethane thickness. That's their field applied insulation. We received a submittal, and we didn't see that those matched, so I talked with Phil about it, and I think that installation's about 2 to 4 weeks out with that jacket, right, Phil? Is that about correct, or?
With the HDPE?
Well, the one for the field applied with the,
Okay, so the field applied doesn't have the HDPE hard casing on it, but it does have a wrapping on it.
A wrapping, yeah.
It's just not as thick as the HDPE. But I did speak to Sean Quilty, and he said that you really don't need, if you're gonna bury it and you're gonna flow fill, you really don't need the HDPE.
so you don't
wrapping
need the
on it.
jacket that they specify with it?
So,
Because you're filling it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically buried,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Gotcha.
Okay, so, I mean, if that's the case, and the, C. Naughton has that ready to go and wants to fulfill it, all I would say is let's just get something from the manufacturer saying that that's equal, and I'm fine, and then I think you're fine. But that's why my thought was originally when we were going through this, and the jacket was part of the system and it was being excluded, and that was the thing that was making it go out 2 to 4 weeks. That if we're gonna wait 2 to 4 weeks for a jacket for field applied insulation, you might as well wait, because C. Naughton's done a great job doing progress on Main Street.
Yeah,
So they're
they're
at the point where they're almost out of work right now, because we're still waiting on trenchless work over the other 2 culverts, or under the other 2 culverts, I should say. So knowing that those culvert installations still have to happen, the thought was, if C. Naughton has to come back in 2 to 4 weeks, well, why don't make it 6 to 8 weeks when the culvert installations, that's about the time when they're gonna have their trenchless submittal, all the product they need for going underneath the culvert with a steel sleeve. So why not wait and have the pre-insulated pipe, because it's a better product. But again, that was the idea with waiting on pre-insulated
Yeah.
pipe versus the other one.
So your preference is obviously field applied, correct? Is it a preference, or is it easier to work with? Is it less expensive? All the above,
I
lead times?
already have the field applied insulation.
Okay,
We have it in our yard,
okay.
so.
Without the jacket.
Without the jacket, but you're gonna flow fill it, the field applied as well, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
and this is off the road. It's not even in the lane of travel, there's 61 feet.
Right on the edge.
It's right on the edge. Because we had talked about even a steel plate over the flow fill, because this culvert 2 is only 8 inches below compared to culvert 1 and 2. So this is the least amount of material on top of the pipe.
Correct.
Yeah, flow fill was, I mean, it does perform insulation, but it's more, the idea with that, when we recommend it, was more to,
Protect
you're
it.
doing the road, it is right on the edge of the road.
Yeah,
And
right,
just to,
And
just to
something like
protect
that
it a little
loaded,
bit when
right.
they're doing
If somebody
reclamation
blows
or
off that
anything
road
like
and
that.
goes over it with a loaded 69,000 pound truck, we don't wanna have a problem.
Well, inevitably, any trench repair is gonna have some movement and settlement, so just
Right.
minimizing that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Right, so that can
So,
sometimes
I don't,
fill-
I mean, I can't make all these decisions myself. I don't, whatever you guys, I mean, there's pros and cons to both of them, right? There's lead times on pros and cons on both of them.
Cost wise? Similar?
No.
No,
No,
previous
the regular
is pretty
ductile
normal.
iron like they've been putting all the
No,
way
I'm
down
not
Main
saying,
Street.
so
then
the
they just-
factory, the prefab is more expensive?
Yes.
Double, right?
Double?
Almost.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say there's labor associated, like more labor time associated with the?
Yeah, you gotta look at apples to apples, right?
That's
You know,
right, right.
you know.
So I'm just saying more
Right.
labor time associated with installing the
Field has more
applied.
labor compared to the.
I would just think, but tell me if I'm wrong, Phil.
Well, the HDPE doing the, you know, the 45s and stuff, that is, because you're dealing with the HDPE, it is more cumbersome than, so, I mean,
If you're applying the field insulation wrap versus pre-wrapped,
let me tell you this, my boss said because you guys have been really good to work with, if you guys, we already have the field insulation, like, if you guys decide to go that route, we'll give you guys the insulation, just pay us for the pipe.
I mean, on this culvert, I personally think with the field would be fine, the amount of water flow. I understand the air aspect of it. It's never filled before. We're flow filling it too, that's gonna make more insulation, that's gonna make it better.
It's always gonna be running water in there, right?
I mean,
in theory.
unless that we're in current says we're getting rid of the Elm Street tank and there's some big master plan here that it's.
well, we haven't finished looking at that
Right,
yet.
I mean, this is never
another
gonna be,
story for another day.
but it is never gonna be a dead end. It's never gonna be a dead end, so.
I think you just wanna let the record show that all we're trying to do is give you the best protection you can.
I
have.
understand you 100%, you're right, no, and I'm
You
not
can
saying you
certainly
don't, that's right,
understand that,
that's
you know,
right.
you have 700 of these things
That's
in
why-
town that don't fail, but it's just not good engineering practice to do it. Just because it's been done on every culvert you have in town doesn't make it a good idea. So, it is what it is, we need to solve it. You've got a situation where it failed, it clearly failed and we didn't know about it, nor did you, until now.
2 days ago. I
So it
just
needs to be
found this out.
replaced, and Phil is gonna do a great job replacing it with what, they're gonna take the care necessary to wrap it in the field insulation, and it's gonna function fine, I'm sure. We're just,
Greg? In what? What?
It didn't, let's be honest here, we're gonna have people pissed off and people that ain't pissed off here.
Well, but listen, you've been around for,
It
you've been around here for a while,
didn't fail.
we value your
It's stuck at
experience.
85 pounds,
Yeah.
which is static pressure.
Mhm.
So it never leaked a drop,
I
because
thought
we
it-
don't get to
I thought it
85
failed-
pounds.
I thought it failed 10 years ago and got replaced.
It got blown out under the pressure test when they blew it out when they installed it.
Got it. So
Repaired it, and it held static for all these years.
that was my point.
Okay.
It blew up and.
But Somerset installed theirs, which I consider Somerset Water Department a hell of a lot more intelligent than we are here. They just did this last year with the federal government. So it is an approved practice to run pipe above grade
Right.
in insulation, not go under every culvert.
I understand that, I mean, I deal with it on a daily basis with.
Main Street's at a standstill right now. We promised the residents it'd be done by the end of June. This is April.
Understood,
We got 3 culverts to go here and button things up.
understood. Okay. I'm fine with the field applied method.
Yeah, I would just, the only thing I would say is just make sure we get something from the manufacturer.
That's fine.
That's
That is, as long as we do our due diligence and have our
Right,
T's crossed and I's dotted,
Right.
and there's always more than one way to skin a cat, and,
agreed.
we value the engineer's, expertise, and value Greg's, and value C. Naughton's, and I think it comes down to preference at the end of the day,
Agreed.
in timing and how we're gonna move forward, so I'm cool with the field applied.
Agreed.
Are you guys in a rush? Do you want to stop this for 2 seconds and then go on to Mike, or do you want to have Mike wait until we
Yeah, I'm
finish
good.
this?
You can finish.
Yeah, you all right, Mike? Yeah? Okay, all right. So, as of this stands, we're not talking about it anymore. Culvert 3, you're gonna replace the pipe, field applied, flow fill, steel plate?
I don't think it's necessary with the flow fill at this.
Okay.
this
I don't
time.
think you need it. I think you're just adding another,
Yes.
a plate slipped under pavement,
Okay.
they moved, there's
Okay,
a lot
that's-
more problems with
No?
steel plate
Okay,
than there were
perfect.
from not steel plate.
All right. So we're good with all this now, it's culvert 3. Okay.
With the manufacturer.
Right, with the manufacturer's
Bless.
blessing, all right.
Shop drawing submittals, whatever you wanna, cut sheets, whatever.
Yep.
and I don't wanna do this, but I'm going to.
Yes, you do. You know you want to.
No, not really, because you don't understand how much this is been like, this is like deep. Okay, where's culvert 1 and 2?
C201. C201, I believe is the first one. C202. That's 202.
Right here?
Three.
And,
That's Culvert 2.
that's all right, that's all right.
Two's fine. Two and one are,
Yeah.
one and the same, correct? Or they,
I'd say they're a little different.
okay. Same premise though.
Two's a little worse.
Two's a little worse, yeah, like Greg said. Sorry,
No worries.
thought I didn't see it.
Richmond
Oh,
Brook
maybe
is
that
2?
is one.
Sorry.
Richmond Brook is 2?
Yes.
Buck Lane.
That's 2, sorry. That one was 1, that's 2. Okay. Sorry.
Right here. Now we do one up there.
Yeah, you gotta relabel that one.
Right. Now, I understand this was all before all of our time here and everybody else. We didn't plan on doing culvert 3 because we were leaving it alone. Culvert 1 and 2 are deeper than culvert 3.
When you say deeper,
Existing. The existing
Existing
pipe
main.
goes under.
the existing pipe goes under both of them.
Correct.
Okay.
Do you guys still wanna go over or above, or beyond, under, put it in the sky?
You're setting us up with a loaded question there.
Well, the reason why I'm doing this is
Exactly. Give us
because,
give us a little preface of what the question.
well, because we're doing it on 1, and I don't
Three, you
really,
mean?
we're doing it on number 3.
Yep.
And I understand, and it's just a whole, you didn't do your due diligence going underneath, we didn't do our due diligence, everybody just, this whole thing. Do you guys still wanna keep it to go under? I mean, there's still weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of lead time. Contractors,
So, I would say, what are,
Well, there's weeks of lead time to go under. To
Still.
go over, we have the pipe on hand, the the proper installation.
but the engineering firm is 100% against about going above. And
Okay.
that's fine, I agree.
we want to replace in kind, basically, at the end of the day, correct?
Correct.
Underneath the culvert.
Yeah, they're we're putting a sleeve in, so steel, like a 20-inch diameter steel sleeve.
Sort of like a duck bank type of deal.
Well,
Well,
it's-
it protects the pipe and you have
Yeah.
access.
It
to
protects the
remove-
pipe and it allows you to, if you do have a break and you wanna reinstall
Install
it,
it,
you
yeah.
have somewhere, you have a
Tunnel.
conduit to facilitate that installation.
Okay.
Obviously, it's not your cakewalk down the road water main replacement.
Right.
Nine
Like if
feet
you-
deep.
What is it?
9 feet or 14 feet.
Right,
So I would
exactly.
never.
No, you're gonna have to bring someone
That's
who
a special
can.
Yeah, I don't
company,
have
that's a
the
special-
capability.
You can't do that, right?
No,
No, this isn't your
8
run of
feet
the
on
mill
Pine
water.
Street's deep enough for me.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you have a conduit that allows you to have it.
Makes it-
You don't have to re-pipe something through, you can just have it re-driven through,
So,
pulled through.
right.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the question, I'll say, so we're going above ground in culvert 3, why can't we do the same in 1 and 2?
Because it's
That's
bad.
the question.
Because it's bad, it's not
Because they don't
typical
like it,
standard
huh?
practice, and yeah, it's because we don't like it.
Right.
Right.
No, it's not because we don't
Would
like
it-
it,
would
it's
it-
because, it's
we don't
because
like
the
it.
standards.
No, I understand, would it?
There's hundreds of these things throughout the state of Massachusetts.
I understand,
Yeah.
I'm asking questions, I'm
Yeah.
asking questions to get the information so I can make an
The
educated decision.
deferred infrastructure and the lack of investment in our utilities in Massachusetts and the United States for that matter, has dictated some really poor installation.
And we want to be trendsetters.
No, we don't want to be trendsetters, we want to follow the
Oh.
standard DEP, SRF guidelines for design and installation of state and federal funded projects and go about it the right way when there's an option.
Yeah.
And we considered the option of going under all 3 culverts with a fair amount of scrutiny
Mhm.
during the design process. We evaluated the potential and the cost impacts of each. We were able to accommodate that on 2, and the project was bid on with that indicated on the plans.
Right.
We then ran into a situation where it was gonna be extraordinarily costly to do this third one. You have 100 of them around town, and so does the rest of the world. The decision was made to just leave the pipe the way it was and not touch it, not knowing that we'd run into this situation. So although we can advocate for the replacement in kind of that, because you need to finish your project and get CNOT on their way and pay them for the great work they've done. We would not advise to change how to cross those, because all you're doing is creating two new potential issues that we designed around and were funded in a way that, you know, we'd have to double back to talk to SRF, and we don't believe that's the product that you guys are being, you know, supported to put in.
Right.
And we don't advocate for doing it that way.
Right. So let me ask you a question. I asked this question the other day to my engineers on a job out in Springfield and my mechanical contractor. And we were arguing back and forth about pipe sizes and how the system was working and everything.
Yeah.
Would the water main work as intended if we went above ground versus underground? Would it work as it's intended? Would the system work? If we didn't go
There's not a
under versus over?
hydraulic impact to it going under and or above.
You're just creating a point of potential issue where you can avoid a point of potential issue by going underneath and give yourself a more permanent installation.
And that potential issue being freezing up pipe.
Being traffic loads. Generally, as a practice,
Yep.
we typically do not put water mains less than 2 feet, with less than 2 feet of cover in the traveled roadway.
And these only have a foot on 1 and 2, I think that's what it's.
But again, what we
all
planning is
this-
to push them right to the edge of the road again. So they wouldn't be in the travel lane like the existing main down Main Street, they would be hugging the edge of the road.
Right,
So we're gonna 45 them over as well as up or down,
right.
correct?
I think that's what Phil showed on his.
Well, it gets them
sketch.
out of the travel lane.
So,
Again,
a
there is
very
room
long
to
time
put it
ago.
on the edge in the grass, and for what it's worth, you know, if you did decide to go over the culverts, we already have all the materials needed to do that.
Right.
But on the downside of that, Phil,
Yeah.
if it's your company engineer, they didn't, this was planned to go underneath. So if somebody in your company dropped the ball on this phase of it, correct? That's why it's not done yet? I mean, I'm not blaming you, but there is blame here on why it's not done yet.
Well, to go under it, there's a lot of, it's gonna be a bear as far as like with groundwater and stuff, so there's a lot of prep work with submittals and.
But it was on our plan though, that's my
So
point.
it was on the bid documents,
Right.
and it was shown as such, and it should have been included in the number that we had gotten originally from CNOT. My understanding,
Yes.
correct?
And it
So-
probably wasn't, correct?
Oh, there was a bid, there's two bid items, there's bid items for each culvert.
But if we went above ground, obviously significantly less cost, correct?
CNOT put $10,000, correct me if I'm wrong, $10,000 on each culvert crossing. We did write a little, like I think in January when we went through this the first time, we kind of gave you a breakdown of everything, but I think it was $10,000 for each sleeve installation and $500 for dewatering.
So that's not even an eighth of what it's gonna cost.
I don't know how CNOT has their numbers figured out, but I just know, you're not gonna retroactive, based on the bids, you're not gonna have a retroactive, like a huge, like cost
Credit.
savings.
Yeah.
Cause you're right, cause it can only be the amount that, $21,000, right? But-
So we missed that, obviously during the bid process.
No, we identified it,
When I say we, I'm saying
Oh, yeah.
it was an oversight,
Yeah.
we should have asked that question more about that culvert crossing, because obviously,
Yeah, so we specifically asked CNOT if they could do the work at the bid price shown, and I think they're prepared to do it. It's not that I don't think CNOT's not prepared to do that. I mean, I know I've been working with Phil, he's already gave me submittals for dewatering, and he's told me that he's engineer on the way to do the other two.
I just wanted all three of us to be on the same page on these three crossings. Have been hours and hours and hours of discussions above, beyond, below. Greg wants to go above, which works for us, and I just want this to, if you guys feel that you want it to go below, it's a dead issue, I'm not talking about it again, we're not making phone calls again. You wanna go above, but then I understand the engineering firm is 100% about negative about going above because there's a million reasons why.
Well, if there's a million reasons why, then why are we even entertaining it? You know what I mean? I guess is the question. So Greg, what are your thoughts on it? As far as above versus below, if those culverts wanted to?
You're doing it at number 3,
I understand that,
so
but,
it's the same road.
so my question to you would
Culvert
be,
number 2 broke probably 7 years ago, was 9 feet deep already.
Mhm.
We had to slope a hell of a hole to get down there to fix it ourselves. We have no isolation valves on either side, it was a complete mess.
Mhm.
I'm not impressed with going underneath the culvert.
So what if we put that,
Probably it's
Yeah.
the rule, I'm a little out of time, you know what I mean?
but if we're putting that sleeve in,
What does the sleeve do me? Nothing, it just allows me to push another pipe through in the event that
makes
something...
it easier,
No,
makes it easier to
no,
replace.
ductile iron pipe is very good pipe.
Yeah.
Well, it really doesn't make it easier because if.
You
let's
still
say,
gotta
for
excavate.
instance, If you do have a leak with the pipe 14 feet deep,
Mhm.
I mean, you have a sleeve there, you're still gonna have to go through the same permitting process and dewatering to dig down 14 feet to repair a leak.
Mhm.
To install this, it's my understanding, and please, if I'm wrong, now's the time to tell me. We need to excavate large holes on both sides of the culvert,
Mhm.
which means we have to close the road. We have to run pumps with diesel generators at least 24 hours a day for one day, maybe 2 days. The people on Main Street are not happy.
I have to drive every single day.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to a diesel engine outside your window. And culvert 2, the homes are, what, 3 feet off the culvert?
If there's a
Culvert 1,
pipe,
you could
right.
get away with it, all right? So we're inconveniencing them more.
In the chance that we have a break.
No, it needs to be done to install them deep.
Well, that too, okay.
So that's where the extra inconvenience would be, over the top.
Right,
Again,
and
CDOT
break-
started in November, and they put in miles of pipe. It's, the progress they've made is unbelievable. We're at a standstill now. I need something. I think we're gonna be more time consuming to go under, and is it gonna be that much better? It'll be better, but is it gonna be that much better that we wanna wait for that?
Is it gonna be that much?
Can we wait for it?
That's a question I can't answer, we can wait for it. There's no set deadline on the job.
There is none.
No.
So
We wanna be
there's
done by.
substantial
We're
completion
way
is
ahead
in,
of
is in
schedule.
the end of August.
What's that?
So substantial completion as identified by the contract
Yep, as
is
the end
in
of
August. See, Naughton had we had a hell of a winter.
This is the best
Yes.
weather
For-
ever.
for-
Yes.
Right.
So normally
You would have to shut
we
down.
account for
That's right.
winter shutdown
Correct.
times in these schedules.
Yeah,
So C Naughton has the full contractual process to have everything out to, August, end of August, I believe, is the final
Substantial.
substantial completion.
We're way ahead of schedule.
We're way
Understood.
ahead of schedule.
but way ahead of schedule. If we go the underground route,
What am I gaining?
I wasn't asking you.
Oh, I'm sorry, like, it's still on me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll keep quiet.
I was going to Phil. I was going to Phil.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, Greg. If we continue to go the underground route, obviously you're subcontracted that out, correct? What is his timeline? Or do you have someone lined up to do that work? And when can he be here to do it?
Well, I gotta get the shop drawings and submittals approved first before I can actually tell him to come out and do it.
Okay.
So I really don't know, like, when he can come out and do it right now.
But it's in theory, it's within 2 months.
I don't know, so, to get, hopefully,
Yeah.
But like you said, you could run this all till the end of August, as long as you're done by August 30th, then you're okay. You could do this in July, beginning of
we
August.
just wanna get the project wrapped up. If
No,
you
I'm
decide
sure.
to go over, you guys can decide whatever you want, but if you decide to go over the 2 culverts, we already have the insulation, we won't charge you for it, we'll give it to you, so.
So if you decide to go over, if you decide to go over, when could you wrap up this job?
Well, we can just,
The entire,
if you tell me right now to do that, we can continue because we have,
right.
Culvert
we have
3,
the,
right.
we have the materials.
No, I understand that, but like, if we said, tomorrow we said, go over
Yeah.
the culverts.
I would say probably, say in 3 weeks.
For the rest of for the remainder of the job.
Well, that's the only thing that's left is
Yeah.
the culverts, right?
Correct.
Okay,
So probably a week and a half each, or maybe 2 weeks each.
okay.
And you gotta understand whether we go over or under this pressure test chlorination, you have to wait for bacteria samples regardless of whether it's below or above.
Yeah.
So your hands are tied.
My, which is fine, which is great, everybody would love it, then we can talk about the roads. My only, I don't wanna say hesitation, but I don't know, and I'm not gonna give an answer, I wanna think about it for a little bit. My only hesitation being taking a situation that you have going under the culvert and bringing it above. It doesn't make it worse per se, but you're changing the condition and making it not as good as what it was underground from a protection standpoint. And it kind of flies in the face of what we're trying to do here and thinking ahead and making things better. We're not making it better, we're kind of, I don't want to say making it worse, because it still works as intended, but you're adding an element of risk to the situation by bringing it above. That's my only hesitation at this point. And I don't want to give an answer now, because I want to think about it. That's just where I would stand at this point.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because
No.
I mean, it's 14 feet deep.
Right.
It's really not accessible. Well, it is to a huge cost.
That's right, none of our guys here at the Dighton Water District or Charlie Fisher or anybody can touch this if something ever goes wrong.
And I probably should say the photos I gave you are above grade. These are still gonna be buried, just with not acceptable cover for what would occur.
But do you
You won't
understand?
see the pipe when you
Right.
drive down Main Street. Like Tremont, you see that. Brook Street, you see it. You won't see it, so there's no element of kids vandalizing it or things getting, you won't know. The average person does not know whether it went this way or this way.
Yeah.
But you are right saying that it's not up to the engineering standards. You're right. The engineering is saying at least 2 feet, 3 feet of cover, whatever it was.
Even if we go above and only have 2 foot of cover.
Well,
a foot
the
of
minimum,
cover,
you said
So we can
minimum,
flow
Well,
it again,
that's-
flow fill
if
it
it's
again
off the
if we have
road, I
to.
don't think that really matters. It's not in the road.
Correct.
I mean, there's pros and cons to both, I understand that.
So, yeah, I would encourage, as you guys think about this thing, to just reference the letter we sent in early January, just as another point of going through it. I think we've kind of given our points on what's what and what opinions are. From an engineering standpoint, there are issues, more issues than not, with installing pipe with limited cover. That's evidenced by all the pipe that's within 5 feet of cover at all locations throughout Massachusetts and New England. So I encourage that review, and at the end of the day, we will, our stance probably on that situation will be with that letter, and we can, regroup after.
Would you, you may not be able to answer this now,
Yep.
it's a question, but would you, because you have to, I would imagine at the end of this job, you have to sign affidavits and all that good stuff, correct? You have to do that?
We have to do closeout.
Yeah,
and
closeout,
execution
final sign-off,
requirements.
affidavits,
Yep,
all that
yep.
stuff.
So there's stuff from C. Naughton, like record drawings, or
Yeah.
there's stuff like that. There's vendor warranties, which actually, Phil, I need to touch base with you on the pipe still. There's all those things, and it's specifically for the pipe we've talked about, but yes.
Would you sign off on, if we decided above ground, would you sign off on that at the end of the day?
I'd have to go back to the PE that.
That's what I figured.
stamped
I
these-
figured you'd
stamped
get
these
it.
But I
drawings.
think that letter from January.
Yeah, it will make it
I'd
clear.
have to look-
based on-
I'd have to
We have reservations with that.
Right.
and I don't yeah, I mean, I understand that.
Right.
I got
I just wanna-
hesitation, and I think one of the other things that, I guess, the question, we were talking about submittals and delay, and if part of your consideration is delay, I'm not quite sure why when do we get submittals? Because you've been getting them. I haven't seen the submittals on the crossing. I know we're still waiting on submittals and dewatering and such, but this job has been going on all winter, and I don't know that we received the submittals when we could have received the submittals.
Well, I mean, CNON has dropped the ball 100%, and no offense, Phil, on these 2 crossings. This should have been,
So so
They qualify.
we had the initial
Yeah.
sort of understanding of going above, or a question about going over the culverts. That was in January. We sent the letter that we produced. It was made a decision to continue with trenchless application. Phil did submit something which we rejected because it didn't meet the spec. Then now Phil has been working towards updating his documents and working through the contractor, his contractor. He's submitted a dewatering plan which we generally thought was pretty good, just added some comments. He's working with his engineer to provide both. If Phil can tell you, I've been asking for a schedule on the culverts every couple weeks.
I just didn't know, because we're doing it on one, was it okay just to change the plans and just get the project done, go above? Greg feels confident that it would be okay. There's other people in town that feel it would be okay. And obviously it's a decision. I just wanted you guys to.
Yeah, I got a lot of information, and I don't want to give an answer right this second. I want to think about it and take all matters into account before I say
Okay, that's fine.
but it's not going to be. It'll be tomorrow.
Right. That's fine. I've been trying to do this a lot, and then I'm not.
No, I understand.
I didn't want to make this decision nor make the wrong decision, and I'm not blaming anybody.
Do we have that? Do we have that reference letter handy from January?
Yeah.
Who did you send that to?
I know I had it, but.
I can re-forward it.
If you could,
Yeah, if you don't
could you
mind,
send it to like this evening so I can take a
Yeah, I'll
look
do
at
it
it?
right now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right, and that way we can make it.
Yeah, I want to make a decision before I leave
Yeah.
tomorrow.
All right, and the last thing, so, other than that, the hydrants are all set, we know about extensions and moving them, and we're
All the
good,
hydrants
we're
are
about,
raised,
everything else is good, other than these 3 culverts, we're good. No, Elm
culverts,
Street's tied in,
Home Street's tied in.
Good.
138's tied in,
Everything that
the emergency bypass.
Yeah, we won't go there.
Okay, the last thing that I need to know, and I haven't mentioned this at all, Phil, and Jason's been screaming in my ear for the last 2 months.
Because some people have screamed
And
in my ear.
Right, and I don't know what to do here. I know, can we come up with with the road? I know that we talked about, and you were great, about, you made a skim coat from Williams down to when you had at Christmas time. What do we do? So they're not gonna pave till 2024. Because now they have drainage work to do and National Grid's out there doing that whole work. How can we make this road smoother? Because from like Manamit in front of Lenny's house all the way down to 138,
They bang on my.
do we?
I get,
And I know
I
it's
get some
not,
nice
and I'm
text
not
messages.
asking, like,
I'm not asking for anything for free.
I don't know what to
honestly.
do and I
Yeah.
don't even know what to say.
So
I've been brought up, do we mill it? Do we take a
Well,
skim
what-
coat?
Let me ask you this, Derek,
Sorry.
No.
what you could do is, I don't know about the funding or whatever, whoever does it for you, is the intent to reclaim the road?
no, I think you guys are doing mill and overlay, right? I think you should reclaim it. To be honest with you.
I don't know what the town is doing, that's all the town.
The town is doing sidewalks, they're doing drainage, they're
Sidewalk, stormwater, yeah.
and they're doing the whole road. They're doing the
Right.
the
But then I
road.
think they're probably gonna reclaim it at the end. So I think it'll let you,
When you say reclaim it,
That was at.
My ignorance.
like full depth reclamation and basically rebuild the road and.
yes,
repave it.
yes, that's what that's.
They're not
their-
gonna like mill it and take
No, they're gonna- no, they
and
need
take
to-
2 inches off and
No,
then.
if they mill it and overlay it,
So what
I'll
you should
scream
do-
because they shouldn't be doing it.
Really?
If they're gonna do that, you
I've lived in the town how many years? They've never reclaimed one road. in
Yeah, I
this
was gonna
town.
say,
One.
I agree with Greg, I thought,
They're gonna put the cheapest overlay over that road they can.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the
I
dumb
thought
thing to
that's
do.
what I heard, that. they were
Every
doing.
road in this town, we've never ground one.
Well, I don't know the solution, Phil, at all. I don't know, like,
Well, I'll tell you what the problem with a road like that, with just milling and overlay is, if you have dips in the road, the milling and overlay, it
Doesn't
just,
do anything.
Yeah,
it
they'll-
takes off an inch and a half and it puts back an inch and a half.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't take out any dips.
Right.
And especially if you're putting curbing on one side, the pavement's gonna be like this, and when they're setting the curb, you're gonna pull a string, and it's gonna be nice and straight.
And you have to shim those locations
Yeah,
before you do anything.
I don't agree with the
So
mill.
what I would
on
do
that
is,
road,
I would
sure.
try and, regardless if we do it or whoever does it, I would try and reclaim it this year before the winter, and then leave it.
reclaiming means take a machine and grind a little bit off, it's just
No,
a.
pulverizes it down a foot.
Yeah,
And then
you're
you
basically
pave it
a whole new sub base.
Yeah.
every-
Starting
whole
from
new-
scratch.
Yeah,
whole
but
new
just over the
base.
trench that we did, how do we solve our trench the district trench from Williams to Maine and make it halfway decent for the next year.
Those, key word being halfway decent, there's no perfect answer to this, into this solution right now. It's a, to me, and I could be wrong, tell me I'm an idiot, but to me, you mill it to make it level and leave it like that until the town comes in and does their work.
There's a lot of trenches up there. You got the main, you got the services, you got gas trenches. And
Does it make sense to, I'm just spitballing here, does it make sense to mill it, walk away and call it a day, and make sure it's level, or less bumpy, or?
Well, if you mill it now, you've gotta fill around all your valve boxes, you gotta burn
Yeah.
them so the cars don't
Fair,
hit them and loop.
fair, yeah.
And
Well,
what we're milling to is a spidered crap road.
Right, you're not.
So as you mill it now
Yeah,
over
it's a
here,
crap road.
It's sort of a it's unfortunate, like it really is, but it's sort of a symptom of all the utility work going on in the area.
Oh, and a shitty road with no drainage and over
There's
the
so
years.
much work that's
Yeah,
gone
it's-
on, and then you have the water ponding, you just don't have good
Right.
stormwater controls.
Correct.
So
You can't even
it's,
salt cut it without, you can't even salt cut it straight, I would imagine,
No.
it just
Goes where
Goes
it's
So,
at.
are we all in agreement in this room tonight that there's nothing we can do and they
Well,
just have to
the
live with it?
only thing per the contract that CNOT can do is that they are responsible for ensuring that, settlement over a 1-year warranty period per the contract. So, if there's dips and things like that, we can try and make them level. That's
Well,
just.
I'm not asking, it's so bad, Phil. I mean, you drive, I mean, it's terrible. I don't even drive my oil truck, my National Grid truck. I mean, everybody in town's driving on this side of the road. If this has to stay for another year,
it's not, we can't do it, we can't let it for another year.
so,
are you talking about the side that the water main's on, or?
Yes.
or-
Yeah,
No
that's,
one drives on that side of the
Nope.
road.
right.
yeah, no one drives on that side of the road, we have a one-way,
Right.
we have a
Yeah.
one-way
And I'm
highway.
not too
going
concerned
down-
about the
going down
services
Main
that are going
No.
across, because you got, I mean, it's not,
That's fine.
it's the whole trench. And the truck is rattling and bouncing, and I mean, it's like, I had another police car.
You could, to make it level, what's gonna cost you a lot of money, is you can level from the yellow center line over,
Like
Just
half
do half the
lane.
road.
level the travel lane.
What, run up one from Williams all the way down to Elm, just
Yep.
run one,
one lane of
One
new
lane.
pavement.
All the way to nothing to,
I
what's,
think the way you guys should look at this is, if that's something that has to come up, we should take a look at the contract after all these items are completed and where we are at PCO.
Yeah.
Like PCOs, because there are like 5 additional hydrants that were put in as part of the contract to accommodate fire department stuff. There's and the new one we
Yep.
just did today. So like, and there's some reconnecting of valves, and there's the work that we did to facilitate the new connection to Somerset. So like, I would want you to make sure you have a clear understanding of how much money you have left, and then
That's-
you're gonna have to
right.
go back to SRF to make sure that this is eligible too for that. Because if you can't do it as part of
The project.
SRF, then you can't.
Yeah.
If they won't pay for it because it's not eligible,
Yeah.
you might be able to make a case for it, but that like paving isn't one of contention with SRF that they.
Or you could just close it out and pay for it a different way if you wanna own that.
Well, we don't have any.
Or you could pay, right, exactly what Scott said. You could
I was
pay
just
for it.
asking a question, like, I was just trying to get some
So-
answers because,
No, we're not gonna answer it tonight, but we need to come up with an answer
It's
soon.
something we should all look at.
I believe if it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, if it's within 10 feet of the utility that was installed in their SRF, it's eligible for.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah.
believe that's.
Yeah,
correct.
they have some,
10 foot on either side, or 10 foot
10
on
foot on either side.
either side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We
because
should
sometimes
be
you saw
able.
a cut for a utility excavation and then it cracks out.
Yeah,
So
right, yeah.
they give you that latitude on either side,
So
so
in theory, we'd have a 20-foot wide section.
so if you got a 20-foot wide, you could theoretically do the whole lane, but yeah, I guess
That's
you
what
could
I'm.
argue.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
we could come back, and like if we have money left over, we can look at
So-
doing mill and overlay change order through
Right.
CNOT.
Phil, cover your ears for a second, but what do they own per contract as far as,
Temp pavement.
Temp
They-
pavement.
They own temp pavement and
We own for 1 year if there's any settlement. or
Any settlement.
potholes, We have to come back and.
exactly.
So
So
that whole
settlement
thing's a pothole.
potholes. That's correct.
Well, yeah, and just within their trench work.
I'm not
yeah,
blaming them.
no,
Yeah.
it goes, it's a multitude of things, but,
But if they're mobilized and they have
It's
to
about,
repair that and they can do it.
it's about $150,000.
to do what?
To overlay from one end to the other on one side.
On one side.
150,000.
What do we have contingency wise?
Contingency, you got about 5%.
That's just a
so-
rough number.
Yeah. No, this is just talk, just to try to.
We gotta
So a little less than-
Yeah, I mean, we gotta.
So probably a little,
I
like
don't
a
want Lenny getting yelled
little,
at anymore.
like 200,000 maybe.
think we
What's
are.
that?
200,000 maybe?
Left?
No, that's
No,
that's
contingency.
contingency.
That's what we have in contingency, about
That's
200.
about the number.
And what have we spent so far today? I should know this, but I don't.
You are, so Phil's last pay rec, I think you were within $200,000 of the final payment. So the total contract was what, like 2.98? So you got about like, we're at 2.78. Based on the last pay rec he just submitted, which we haven't approved yet.
But how much contingency is left?
The contingency on
All the
top of that is
contingencies on top of
200,000.
Yeah, no, but I understand
Couple
that.
100,000, so you.
How much have we used out of that contingency?
No,
No, fire hydrants, nothing pulled out of the
nothing.
contingency?
No, nothing. Because nothing's been, right, because
We're still under the contract amount.
we're still underneath the contract amount, which does not include contingency.
Gotcha. We feel comfortable that we're gonna be under that contract amount?
We're probably gonna be a little over the contract amount because we have values for hydrants. They've been putting them in, so we're not at the end of the project yet.
It
So
just feels different than what I'm used to. I'm used to having a lump sum contract and then I have my contingency
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, so this
You know
is
what I mean?
unit prices.
Yeah.
So they're submitting unit prices every month.
So
on
we
what
added
they
some
install.
hydrants but we haven't finished all the work on the contract. So the
Right.
hydrants hit
We added
and you're
hydrants.
over on that item of hydrants perhaps.
Yeah.
But we're not
It's
over
not
for the
coming out
whole
of
contract yet, because they haven't
Yeah,
fulfilled that whole contract.
Water
more
service.
inlets.
that's more.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
Yeah,
We did
so-
add a bunch
So
of
on
those.
a unit
We're
price
still-
basis, and they're gonna
And
have
we're still on.
15 of one thing, and they've done 20 or 25,
Yeah, yeah.
then they build
Yeah.
it, but it doesn't overrun the whole contract.
Yeah.
So we may have some money left there.
There could, that's what I'm saying. We
Yeah.
need to check, we should evaluate it at the, when they, and this next pay rec is gonna put us in a pretty good spot of understanding where we're at. They did, the connections into Elm Street, which that's big, a larger ticket item with the piping associated with it. Hydrants installs.
Right.
Phil's gonna probably submit a PCO for extensions.
Yes.
One other question when Zach's done.
So those are the things, but I would say after the April pay rec, you're gonna have a pretty good idea on where you are in terms of actual contract unit price items.
Mhm.
There might be some additional change orders that Phil will submit for some of the items I
I think
just
you're gonna
mentioned.
be still well under 125%.
Okay.
When you're doing the trench, I understand they taking macadam out of the truck and then putting it down and then tamping it with the excavator that has a tamper on it. Would it be, if it's a 2-foot wide trench, can you just overlay 3 feet or 3.5 feet with the machine and overlay that for the next year instead of doing half a travel lane? Like, is it something that we could do to make it smoother than, because now I understand the machine's just tamping as they're going down the trench and is it with a machine?
You can do.
'Cause that's what you did on the
just try-
first
You
one.
can try and just overlay the trench width, but you still.
Well, you did the
See,
first
the problem
part.
is that you gotta go to, in my opinion is, you gotta go to full width to feather it out, because you can't really leave a lip.
Okay, all right, I got you. All right, I got you.
Because it'll be
Yep,
too narrow,
yep,
it'll
yep.
pop up and.
All right, okay. Lenny, I'm trying for you. I'm trying. I'm
The only way you could do it would be to just mill wider than the trench, so that you
That
have
would be the
some,
thing.
you have some
Something to
edge that
grab
you
onto,
could then,
yeah.
you could then fill and roll, and you could do that in a
How
slightly wider
wide's your milling
trench.
machine?
Well, the mill machines have all different drums on them.
Okay.
There's 4-foot drums,
So you could do
6-foot
it, yeah.
drums.
So if you have a 4-foot trench, you could do a 6-foot mill, and.
That's what
you-
that's what I'm getting at,
Then you
right?
could just do a strip of hot mix
Yep.
and roll it, and have your edges
I think that's what we gotta look at.
seal, something like that,
Yeah.
that would be, maybe that's
Enough for
70, maybe that's
the
50
width
or
of the car.
70,000,
Just get me till
yeah.
frickin' summer of '24.
Maybe something like that's
Yeah,
50 or 70,000, and it's a little different than 150,000 to do
Is
a
that
whole
something that you'd be
lane.
interested in looking at when the job is done?
Absolutely,
Or
yeah.
do you want us to go somewhere else? That's what I.
Yeah, I would rather just keep
Okay.
it with them and call it a day.
Especially if you get this, they're under contract, it's easier to work within, especially if you're trying to work within the SRF
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
At
that's
least
what,
we know the direction.
I think that's what we wanna look at.
And something like that would be covered by SRF, because it's really just making sure the trench is repaired, you're well within that.
Sorry, sorry.
Is it beach end?
That's what we wanna do.
Each end, yeah, it's each
Yeah,
end.
yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
I don't want any more
All right,
text
so-
messages. I don't want Lenny yelling anymore. I don't want
all right, so,
anyone doing anything anymore.
all right, so at least we know that Phil will do that, and whatever decision, we'll work on that.
We'll have a decision on this tomorrow.
All right, And we're all set on culvert 3,
Yep.
and that's the rest of it. There's no other complaints.
Culvert won't be similar,
Be the
same
page
as
too.
culvert.
Yeah. All right. All right, I guess that's it. Phil, thanks for coming. All right,
Thank you, Phil.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Scott, thanks.
Thanks
Zach.
for the information. So we can make an educated decision.
Good luck.
What we can do.
Scott, while you're here for 1 second.
Yeah.
How's the THM thing going? Have you heard anything at all? You can say no, that's fine.
No, I just picked up the data Monday,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we can have anything concluded.
Yeah, no, we just picked it up our start.
No, that's cool, I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, no, because you guys got samples coming up like 3 weeks from now, right?
Yeah, so I guess they just chlorinated a little bit. Monday? They just did a little, so, because we got bacterias. And then the next thing will be is
Falls under the-
HMs. All right, cool. All right, thanks.
Alright, get out of here. I just sent the letter, so,
Who'd you send it
I
to?
sent it to Tina and Derek,
Okay.
so they can circle through. If you guys wanna give me your other emails, I can start disseminating them on, throughout
Can-
all
can you
other,
send them?
I usually.
Other email, or work email? Okay. JR,
Yep.
I'll write it down. I don't want people.
No, I got it in, here, go
Okay.
ahead.
Oh, yeah, actually, I emailed you before from my,
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, what is it again though? I'll just make sure I have it. I'm typing it on,
That's fine. I don't wanna,
mess it up. Oh yeah, that was the
Yeah.
beginning of the project. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll write mine. Okay, cool. Just do it all in one shot.
alright, what's next?
All right, Mike's here. Sorry to hold you up, Mike.
No worries.
Did you have fun listening to all that stuff?
I feel bad for you guys, that sucks.
Thank you. Have a great one, guys.
All right, Zach, thanks for all your help.
We do this because we love it.
We're trying.
You go one way, it's better, but then it's gonna be a nightmare if you have to fix it.
Yeah.
That's a deep trencher box, 12 feet.
Yeah.
I gotta have, I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't get everyone's, thoughts, opinions, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, great, I wanna listen to Mike.
Just lower the culverts?
What's that?
Can you just lower the culverts a little bit?
No.
No.
That's a whole nother nightmare.
Yeah.
That's a whole, everything else. I just wanna get value Greg's opinion and the engineers, obviously, and just wanna make sure we're getting all of our information.
All right, Mike, we have an outstanding water bill
I
at
know this,
2274 Winthrop Street.
yes,
Your mom's house.
yes. Place has been empty forever. That water's actually been shut off for years too, the house.
So, this had started before I was even a commissioner.
My mom had come down one time before about this and didn't inform me. I would've came with her.
So,
I just wanna get it off the books. That's the oldest bill I have. My stuff's usually paid spot on.
so the service fees at the time were $5,382 because of the water usage that was on that bill in 2012.
Yes,
853,000 gallons.
which seemed excessive. Greg went there and tested the meter. He said it was okay, but it seemed kind of odd. Pump that high of a reading.
That's just all that.
Right, and then there was interest penalties on top of that of 3,506.
Yeah.
Now, from what some of the workers here, your mom had asked to keep the water on because of insurance purposes. That's the reason why the water was kept on. And then they had the leak of 853,000 gallons and they approved, you said that the meter was actually working.
Meter was working properly.
Correct.
And that's what Greg sent out,
Right.
because he went out there and tested the thing.
I mean, unfortunately, I can't do for one and not for everybody, because that's not how, it's not right to,
Yeah,
I mean, the penalties obviously are getting to the cost of the water because it's been so long.
yeah.
Now, you have two other accounts for the Dighton Water District, your shop at
Yeah.
1988, which it's shut off since 2019, and then 1970 went through.
Yeah,
All right. I mean, what are you gonna do about the bill? I mean, obviously, there's a lien on the property since 2016 because we haven't been paid.
For this one here, for this?
Correct.
Okay.
I had talked to Eddie Swartz when he was a commissioner about this and tried to get him to do something about that, to work with me on it. So I don't have an issue paying some of this, but I just thought it was excessive, the amount of money he came up on that.
I can't take away the $5,300 for the water usage.
All right,
That's because, like I said, that's actually billable water that you use.
okay. I don't see it being used there, but, so if I just paid it, if we just settled on the 5,300 and just cleared it, would that work for
Isn't
you
that
guys?
53 coming up? Is that 52?
That was with the fees and everything.
This is 53,000. Okay.
I don't know what you guys wanna do. I mean, this started before us. I mean, this, all three of us.
Yeah, there's, you have my opinion on that, right there.
I mean, if we,
I'm just trying to clean my books up, basically.
if you paid the water usage of $53.82,
Then we get rid of the fee.
And
Then
we
we
get-
get rid of the fees.
and get rid of the penalties, are you gonna pay that off?
Yeah, you want me to just do that and finish it? I just want to get it off my books.
So,
Now, how about your shop? Are you ever gonna turn the water back on at your shop, or no, that's staying
Yeah, we
off
will.
eventually? All right, we can do that, because I can't relinquish the 53.82.
I understand.
So,
All right, I'll pay the check for that now. Here, you're here.
you wanna do that inside the office, Tina? We'll wait? Okay, you can do that inside.
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so
Mike.
much,
All right,
guys.
okay, thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
There was some craziness in town today when we.
Oh, yeah.
We're national news now.
Well, it's pretty bad when it's on the phone, it's like, wow, look at all the helicopters out there. The guy calls me from California, what's going on in your town?
Mike, very serious,
We're on the map.
It didn't seem good.
very serious.
We're on the map.
Again,
We can stop talking
We're getting
about
soft on our old age.
no, we can't do that, though.
No, I know, that's the
right,
only
right,
thing,
right.
that's the only thing, that's the only
Completely
reasonable,
agree. Completely agree.
that's the only reasonable thing.
Water went out.
So is this meter still running? Is he still getting?
No, they're all off.
They're
That's
all
off.
That's all.
How's that?
No, you can't, it's
How's that?
recorded. I'll tell you later.
Alright. Okay. Can we write for Tina?
Yeah.
I had people texting me all freaking day, what's going on in Dighton, what's going on in Dighton?
Yeah.
This gnat is flying around me.
Poor Zach, he was sweating around the AC pump.
Oh my goodness. He was getting shiny.
I keep going back and forth on that.
Yeah, I know.
Local talk about it, yeah.
You're on camera now.
Hmm. I get the original letter from, because Ed wanted it.
I'll make a decision, I'll sleep on it.
What was this one for?
This is just, yeah.
As soon as I get on the plane tomorrow, I'll send them my, I'll be like, Derek.
Where you off to tonight?
We're going to Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Oh, this is vacation.
Vacation, yes,
Oh.
yes.
What work?
No, my work phone is getting shut off. I told everybody today, don't call me unless it's an absolute 5-alarm fire. First time in a while.
Now, do you golf?
Yes,
Oh.
I will be golfing down here, for sure. We're actually, I'm actually playing the course that the PGA Tour is playing right now.
Oh, wow.
They're there this weekend, we're gonna go watch them, but then we're playing it Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
That's
So,
awesome.
I'm gonna splurge a little bit. Love it down there. Hopefully that's retirement. That's where we're gonna retire, or at least I am.
You'll go.
I'll be in Florida.
When? When you retire? You'll never retire.
Everyone's going to Florida. It's gonna get overcrowded.
It's all right, it's a button, it's all air conditioning. Nice boat, 2 engines on it.
South Carolina down south, and south, that's where I'm going.
I haven't decided yet.
I can't stay up here, I don't like the cold.
See, I say that.
Yeah, I don't like the
I
weather.
say that, but then, I don't know.
Good.
It is getting less tolerable.
Politics even worse.
We're on the map
No,
now.
I'm not.
Don't
This has
even.
been very,
Yeah, I've heard,
I got hammered.
I've heard.
I didn't go the red way of
Right,
the library.
Yeah. You hear the peepers in here? Can you hear the peepers?
Mm.
Come on, let's get this. Check, let's go.
We're only on number 4.
I still have to go home and work yet. I gotta get it all done before I leave tomorrow morning.
Oh, I get on a plane Saturday mornings.
7 a.m. flight out of here.
We really have to do something with that road.
It was awful. We're gonna
100%.
have to spend some money, use the contingency,
Tried
and
going
do
down there
a
with my
6
car.
foot, do a 6 foot swap.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Down in your neighborhood.
See, Mike,
I was trying to go down there to get down there.
I go around. I literally go around.
Right up in that damn trail, I had everything on the floor. Everything rattled right off. It looked like a toddler destroyed a room.
Okay, I'm gonna talk fast. Approve the minutes of the prior meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 17th board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Is there a motion to approve the executive session minutes from the March 17th?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Reading of the correspondence, there isn't any. The financial conditions, the operating budget to actual balances, income for the first 9 months of the fiscal 2023 is $2,747,697, with expenses at $2,413,658. Outstanding water receivables as of March 31st is $120,000. Month's commitments were $6,772, and the water receivables for the month were $100,995. Is there a motion to accept the financial reports as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Is there a motion to approve the expenditure warrants as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Old business. The Somerset Well, Brook Street Well update, there is none. The MIU repair update, 1,000 completed. Finally hit the 1,000 mark.
Nice. How many more do we have?
Continuing to book appointments, 500 and something?
Yeah, about 500.
Main Street Water Main Project, everybody's already heard about all that. Environmental Partners, replacement well, the plans are here. I gotta meet with Chuck Blackheath from Environmental Partners and Greg to go over the plans, just to make sure that everything is good on that project.
Our Greg?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, that's why we're going to do this the right
Yes.
way.
Yep.
Superintendent's position, we have a couple applicants, but we're not, we were supposed to do something tonight, but there was too much going on otherwise, so we canceled the interviews. The annual district warrant budget review.
But we have 2, right? Yeah. 2, yeah, gotcha.
2 positions.
Make sure.
Okay, new business, annual election warrant, the review. Is there a motion to approve the annual election warrant as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
You guys have it, one needs to sign the warrant.
There it is.
Okay, review. Okay, announcements. The next regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners is May 11th. Hopefully, the annual election for the Water Commissioner at the Dighton Water District will be held on Monday, May 15th, 2023, from 12 to 7 p.m. at the Dighton Water District Treatment Facility located on 192 William Street in North Dighton, Mass. The Dighton Water District annual meeting is scheduled for May 25th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Dighton Middle School. Any public input?
Yes, 3 things. One, was my understanding Mike Mullen was going to facilitate a meeting with the town administrator in Somerset to talk about negotiations or speeding up the process for the approval of the Somerset Brook Street well. Has there been any movement on that?
No, there hasn't.
Okay, just so you're aware, one of the campaign promises that Jamison Souza had made was to facilitate the sale of that project. He was not in favor of holding it up. So now is probably the best time to strike. You know, you probably have an ally in Jamison.
Okay.
I know Mike had wanted to be a part of that, but might wanna reach out to Jameson Souza personally and see if he'll facilitate something.
Okay.
Second question, actually, it's a concern. During the discussion on the Main Street project, someone asked, are they going to reclaim it or mill it? And Greg said something that's pretty accurate about town never reclaims a street, which, with that being the history, I'm concerned. But,
We should talk to Tom Ferry just to get
well, here's my
directly.
thing. You guys, have you been talking with him? Do you know what he's gonna do and how he's gonna do it? And
Well, it's
Does
really, we haven't really got to that part yet,
Right.
so we've been, not really.
like, when the question was asked, you're not sure, and I'm not either, I'm gonna ask Tom right up, straight up, is he gonna reclaim it or is he gonna mill it?
I haven't asked, to be honest with you.
That specific question, no, we have not asked.
We've been
Okay.
more focused on the culvert crossings, the main and the hydrants than
It's a good,
anything else.
it's a question that we should ask and very well will push for
Please.
the right thing. Yeah.
And then the other one, regarding the culverts.
Mhm.
Stormwater involved, or do they don't need to be involved?
That's Water and Currents thing, we're letting, that's engineering, we leave that all up to them.
And that, but they did, at the beginning, give approval for all of this.
Right.
Stormwater did?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely, we would never forget that.
Yeah. So if they change it, they have to go back.
Right.
That'll come back to bite you. Thank you.
Are you staying for a few minutes?
The what?
You staying for a couple minutes?
If you would like.
Yeah.
Yes.
No need to go into executive session tonight, is there a motion to go,
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, motion to adjourn.
yeah, just motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
all right.
Yes,
Any discussion?
Nope.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
You guys have it, adjourned it.